the beginning of time, football has captured
Skip, can't miss.
the imagination.
He shoots.
Hello and welcome to the premiere of The Unbeatables here at the Vue West End. I'm Mark Corden, you're watching the fan carpet. This is how we got on. Can you tell us a little bit about your character in the movie, please?
I can. I play, well, yeah, what's the easiest way of doing this? You have to know the full story to know who I am. So, there's a young man called Amadeo, played by Rupert Grint, who has played table football his whole life. It's all he's ever been interested in, and he's brilliant at it. And he has an arch enemy called Flash, who's like the town bully, who's brilliant at football. All the girls fancy him, and he's horrible to Amadeo. But Amadeo beats him at table football, and it's the only thing Flash has ever lost at. So then, when they become grown-ups, Flash has never got over the fact that he was beaten. He'd never lost at anything before. And he's furious, and he can't get over it. So now that he's a multi-millionaire global superstar footballer, he decides to buy, in revenge, he decides to buy the town, demolish the bar that they used to play table football in, and just make everyone's life a misery. So Amadeo has to go against Flash, save the town, get the girl, and all that kind of thing. Now, on the way, he's helped by his table football team that has always been his favourite team, that he's always played with. They all come to life to help him out, and I'm the captain of that table football team, whose name is Skip. That's the short version.
I play a co-commentator. I'm only in the last 5 minutes, right? But they get involved in a big match and I have to commentate on it. Simple as. That's it. It's loosely based on somebody who is a co-commentator now, but it's obviously not a direct parody of that person.
I play Lara, who is sort of Amadeo's love interest, and she's a very headstrong young girl that is, setting off for art school, and then all this kind of craziness happens with the village, under threat, and she becomes quite a catalyst for a lot of the events.
I play a number of characters. Fast Fingers Flynn, who's a pickpocket, some of the villagers, one of the red players, I think the TV director. It's difficult to remember all of them now. I was involved from fairly earlier on in the project, doing tests for Amadeo to see how things worked out and that sort of thing, because I'm an old friend of David Burgess, one of the producers, and I used to work with him behind the camera, and then I went back to drama school, so I've only been an actor for 4 years, so it was very kind of him to get me involved in my first voiceover job ever, as it were. But no, it's very exciting. It's a fantastic film.
It's incredible. I mean, the thing. I mean, it's in 3D, but it just the way it's animated, it looks extraordinary. It's beautifully animated. Beautifully. I was going to say beautifully shot, but it wasn't shot. If you know what I mean. It's beautifully animated. It's an amazing story. It's incredibly well written. It's unbelievably charming. I'm just delighted to be a part of it. I hope I haven't made a mess of it. I hope I've not ruined it for everyone.
This was actually a very odd way of doing it, because obviously it's a translation of the Argentinian version. We did it individually and would kind of come in and get now and again, and you'd hear other performances that had started. So it's going to be really exciting to see it all come together today.
I worked with on tests. I worked with a lovely man called Nigel Hastings. But when I came to do the other recordings of characters, I was in the booth on your own with headphones on, in that strange voiceover world where you have to imagine it all around you, and there are no other actors there, and I think it was like that for pretty much everybody.
Jonathan Pierce is in the movie, and did you get to meet him while you were working?
No, it was one of those strange things. I've heard other people saying it at the corner of my ear while doing this little green carpet interviews, that none of us really met each other. It's often the way with animated films, is that you just do your bit and then the sound engineer puts it all together. So I didn't get to meet Jonathan. I met him years and years ago, Jonathan. I was a huge fan of his when he was on Capital Radio, and he used to do the most florid, poetic commentary you've ever heard. And then he got a job on the BBC and he had to sort of tone himself right down, which is a shame, but he's still very, very good. And I was working off his commentary. He'd recorded it first, so I was sort of responding to what he'd said, which was quite interesting, just to pretend that I was there, and sometimes to interrupt and go, yeah, but yeah, all right, but I don't know what they've used, and they might have cut it. They might have cut me completely. I don't think I'm even in the film.
I think I actually just missed him by a couple of hours, but he was very much involved with the translation and bringing it kind of over here.
I think it's a fantastic thing because it's a bit like the Asterix books from when I was growing up. It means that there are jokes in there, so when the parents come along with the children to see the film, they can really enjoy it. But I don't think the jokes are anything that are unsuitable for children. You know, they just wouldn't necessarily understand some of the adult jokes. And I think that's a modern trend that's important, to make films accessible to families as opposed to just children. You know, we've seen that in all of those films like Toy Story and all the others over the years.
Can you give us like a little bit of Gary Lineker?
Yeah, of course. Well, Gary's always been a favourite of mine, and I don't know why, really. I think probably because when I was growing up, Gary was something of a hero of mine. He was only about 2 years older than me, playing for Leicester. I grew up in the Midlands, so I used to see a lot of him on our local Star Soccer, as it was called in those days. So I always felt a bit of an affinity with Gary. But yeah, Gary's great. He's done such a great job, and he's got new people alongside him now, with Alan Hansen having gone, and obviously Alan Shearer's come to the fore. And you know, Alan has this very strange habit of frequently closing his eyes at the end of almost every sentence that he utters, which is a very strange thing to do, but he seems to like to do it. And some new people coming through all the time, which I'm going to have to start impersonating now, the likes of Danny Murphy, who I haven't got on top of yet, and I don't mean in that sense, but I need to get on top of Danny Murphy.
I mean, my favourite football team is Arsenal, and obviously Arsene Wenger is a great manager. I'm not sure if you can give us a bit of Arsene Wenger.
Yes, well, you know, of course, Arsene's been quite busy in the transfer market this summer, relatively speaking, of course, you know, not particularly busy compared to the likes of Brendan Rodgers or whoever we might think of. But one player I think he should sign is Bolton Wanderers centre-half, that night. Just so that in the future he can look back on his Arsenal career and say, I will always remember that night.
Are you excited about seeing the film?
Very much so. I think my kids are more excited than I am, so obviously that's why we're here. But yeah, no, it looks good. I had a look on the internet to have a look at the trailer for the film. It looks fab.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the film.
Are you you love animation, right?
Yeah, I love animation.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I like these kind of films. I'm a big fan of cartoons and sports movies, so this is perfect for me.
It was a very tricky year for me last year, being a Man United fan, but that's all right. I've had it almost all my own way for 20 years, so it's about time that I learnt what true support was and disappointment. But I think it should be an interesting season this year. I think Chelsea will win. I think Louis van Gaal's the man for the job. So.
And also, you play for the Arsenal celebrity team. Are you still doing that? Or?
I am, yeah. I've got a game later, no less. Well, actually, no, I'm not playing. I do play for the Arsenal charity team, and we played last week, and we've got a game next week. But today, after this film, I'm playing for Phantom of the Opera against Les Mis, which sounds like the campest football game of all time. I'm not entirely sure how much football there'll be, and just more kind of singing and dancing, but it's going to be interesting.
Do you have a favourite football team?
Yes, Arsenal, born and bred.
I've got to be really careful with that because my brother is a massive QPR fan and my boyfriend's a massive Leeds fan, so I kind of have to stay neutral and just pretend I don't care.
I support Tottenham Hotspur.
My local team is Springvale Rangers, so I go and support them, see them when I can. But I think, you know, in the wider scheme of things, you know, I have to say, I mean, it sounds a bit sort of like I'm, you know, being a little bit traitorous, but I really do think that the German teams, I mean, they deserve their success because they play as a team, they play, you know, and there's a team ethic there which seems to be lacking in other national teams. And also, I read an interesting thing about Bayern Munich, and that was that, you know, that unlike a lot of Premiership sides, they're owned by the fans, so the fans all have an investment in the team. And not only that, that the players are all given the same car, so there's a kind of there's a sort of, I don't know, a much more equal status given to players in a way that perhaps I think should be, because football's a team game, you know. So I think generally I'm more sort of keen on that.
No, not as such. When I was a child, I used to always like those Scottish teams with strange names like Queen of the South and Partick Thistle. But no, I mean, even though I'm not particularly into football, the thing I think is fantastic about it is that it is something that brings generations together and they can all have fun and relax, and the World Cup is something that, you know, brings countries together. like all sporting events. And that's good for international relationships. You know, we live in a world with a lot of divisiveness now, and I think anything that can have people working together and having fun is clearly a good thing.
I've been in EastEnders 9 years now, so yeah, it's been fantastic. So you know, people still continue to enjoy the show and like the character of Max. So that's you know, that's great. I'm very, very grateful for all the fans and people that watch the show.
Big things to come for you.
Indeed, yeah. There's lots happening. I think after the summer, I think Max starts to get busy again. So yeah, watch this space.
I've got a big storyline coming up, but I can't say much more.
Okay. And what's it like working with Letitia Dean?
She's really nice, really friendly, and I hope to stay in it much longer.
You were on stage with the Pythons at the O2 for their last ever thing. What was that like?
It was just amazing. I mean, it was like a dream come true, you know.
I mean, I was there on the night you were there, and I was shocked to see you, you know, on there. You were really good, though.
Yeah, oh, well, thanks. Yeah.
Obviously, they're retired now. Have you got a message for them?
I'd say it was a fantastic experience, and I think that you know, that they've left an amazing legacy which will be enjoyed for many generations to come.
Yeah, well, it sounds just a big film buff and TV. I love. In fact, actually, I love film, but I think that at the moment TV's really pushing the boundaries of quality and ambition, and you know, whether it's House of Cards and Orange is the New Black on Netflix, or whether it's obviously Breaking Bad. But I think from HBO kicked all that sort of 10 and more years ago with The Wire and all that kind of thing, that kind of ambition for telly. So yeah, it's a good time out there.
Love the sunny Sundays, is you know, hanging out. Yeah.
I've just finished filming a period drama about the founding of Chester Zoo called Our Zoo, which is going to be on, I think, well, it's BBC One, and I think they're going 1st September, so I think Sunday nights, probably 8, 9ish in September, and it's called Our Zoo, and I play Billy.
Well, that's us done here at the Unbeatables premiere. I'm Mark Cordin. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter.
Got any more good ideas?
The Unbeatables. In cinemas this summer.